Alex squinted at the horizon, a bruised purple sky promising a downpour. He was deep in the woods, on a solo camping trip that had taken an unexpected turn. 3 days in, and his water supply was looking grim. His phone was dead, and the nearest stream was a 2-hour hike, one he wasn't keen on making in the impending storm. A primal fear, the kind that makes your throat ache, started to creep in. But Alex wasn't one to panic. He remembered an old challenge: turn rainwater into drinking water for $3, no boiling, no fancy filters. Could it be true? He was about to find out. Now, before you call me crazy, and trust me, Alex's friend Ben certainly did when he first heard about this, we're talking about a real, honest-to-goodness survival hack. Not a buy a $30 filter and call it $3 situation. We're talking scavenge and scrounge cheap. Alex had been prepping for years, always looking for the most efficient, budget-friendly ways to handle emergencies. This particular challenge had been nagging at him. Could he really make safe drinking water from rainwater with next to nothing? The rain was starting to patter, a soft drum on the tent roof, signaling crunch time. First things first, rainwater. It falls from the sky, seems pure, right? Wrong. As it tumbles through the atmosphere, it picks up all sorts of nasties: dust, pollen, soot, microplastics. And once it hits your roof or a leaf, it grabs even more grim. So, directly collecting and chugging that sweet sky nectar? Big nope. That's a one-way ticket to tummy trouble. Alex knew this, which is why he wasn't just grabbing any old puddle. He needed a strategy, and he needed it fast. The downpour was gaining momentum. Alex quickly grabbed his largest, cleanest tarp. This wasn't just about catching water, it was about catching relatively clean water. He stretched the tarp taut between 4 trees, creating a funnel shape, and placed his empty cooking pot right underneath the lowest point. No fancy gutters, no expensive rain barrels. Just a tarp, some rope, and a pot. Simple. Elegant. Free. The sky opened up, and within minutes, a steady stream was pouring into his pot. This was step 1, and it was ridiculously easy, costing exactly $0.00. Score. Now, about the no filters part. People hear that and immediately think, but how? Here's the kicker: it means no store-bought, commercial filters. No fancy Brita, no Sawyer Mini, no Life Straw. This challenge was about using what you find or what costs next to nothing. Alex was going full MacGyver. He needed to build a filtration system from raw materials. This wasn't just about removing physical debris, it was about making the water safe enough to drink without boiling. The first pot was already half full, a murky, leaf and bug-filled concoction that definitely needed some serious work. With the rain still coming down, Alex started his scavenger hunt. He rummaged through his backpack, pulling out an old, clean bandana. Check. Next, he needed a container for the filter itself. Luckily, he'd had a soda earlier and kept the empty 2-liter bottle. Perfect. Next, he scouted around his campsite. He found some coarse gravel near a dry creek bed and a handful of finer sand. Lastly, the secret ingredient for removing odors and some chemical impurities: charcoal. He found a few pieces of cooled, unburned wood from an old campfire pit. All free. All natural. All ready for action. Alex grabbed his multi-tool and carefully sliced off the bottom of the 2-liter soda bottle. This would be the top, where the dirty water goes in. The bottleneck, usually for pouring, would now be the filter's output. He then flipped the bottle upside down. This configuration allows gravity to do most of the work, pulling the water down through the layers. It was crucial to make sure the edges were smooth to avoid cutting himself later. This simple modification was the architectural cornerstone of his entire DIY purification system. No fancy tools, just ingenuity and a sharp blade. First, Alex stuffed the bandana into the neck of the inverted bottle. This isn't just to keep the filter media from falling out, it's the first line of defense. Think of it as a pre-filter, catching the biggest chunks of debris, leaves, twigs, those unfortunate bugs. This step significantly extends the life and efficiency of the subsequent layers. If you skip this, your sand and gravel layers will clog up way too fast, rendering your makeshift filter useless after just a few pours. It's like the bouncer at the club, making sure only the finest particles get past. Next up, the charcoal. Alex took the cooled campfire charcoal and crushed it into smaller pieces using a sturdy rock. He didn't need a fine powder, just smaller fragments. This activated charcoal, even if not commercially activated, is brilliant for absorbing organic impurities, odors, and even some toxins. It's what gives your water a neutral taste instead of that swampy flavor. He poured a good 3-inch layer on top of the bandana. This simple, free component is probably the most underrated part of any DIY filter, making a huge difference in the final product. On top of the charcoal went the sand. Alex carefully poured about 4 inches of his scavenged fine sand. This is where the magic truly starts for removing the smaller suspended particles. Sand works by creating a dense, tortuous path that forces water to flow slowly, trapping microscopic debris. Think of it like a really, really fine sieve. He gently patted it down to ensure there were no air pockets. This layer is crucial for clarity, transforming murky brown water into something that actually looks drinkable. The tighter the sand, the better the filtration. It's a slow but steady process. Next, a 2-inch layer of slightly coarser sand, followed by another 3 inches of small gravel. Why multiple layers of sand and gravel? This progression helps prevent the finer sand from washing away and provides stability to the entire filter system. The coarser layers act as a support structure and also trap larger particles that might have somehow made it past the initial layers. It's about creating a gradient, allowing increasingly smaller particles to be caught. Think of it as multiple security checkpoints for the water, each one catching something the last one missed. Efficiency is key here. Finally, another bandana or piece of cloth went on top of the gravel. This top layer prevents the incoming dirty water from disturbing the carefully arranged filter media. It disperses the flow, ensuring the water seeps in evenly rather than creating channels or divots. Without it, the force of the water could create shortcuts, allowing unfiltered water to bypass the layers. It's like a final gatekeeper, gently introducing the raw water to the system. Alex pressed it down firmly, making sure everything was snug. The DIY filter was built. Now for the moment of truth. With the filter complete, Alex positioned it over another clean pot. He slowly, carefully, began to pour the muddy, bug-filled rainwater into the top. The first few drops that emerged from the bottle's neck were still a bit cloudy, which is totally normal. He discarded those. Then, a steady trickle began, and what he saw made his jaw drop. The water emerging was dramatically clearer than what went in. It wasn't sparkling, pristine perfection, but the visible particles were gone. The murky brown had transformed into a translucent gray. A good sign, but not quite drinking water yet. This is important. Just because water looks clear doesn't mean it's safe to drink. This mechanical filtration process removes sediment, leaves, and most visible suspended particles. It removes the ick factor, making it far more appealing. But it doesn't remove bacteria, viruses, or dissolved chemical contaminants, apart from some odors and basic organic compounds thanks to the charcoal. So, while Alex's filtered water looked a million times better, it was still a biological time bomb waiting to give him a severe case of traveler's diarrhea, or worse. The filter had done its job, but the battle wasn't over. And now for the no boiling part of the challenge. This is where most people get tripped up. How do you kill microscopic pathogens without heat? The answer, my friends, is ridiculously simple, incredibly cheap, and probably already in your laundry room: household bleach. Unscented chlorine bleach, specifically sodium hypochlorite, is a powerful disinfectant. It kills bacteria and viruses by disrupting their cellular structure. Alex had a tiny travel-sized bottle he always carried for emergency sanitation. It cost him about $1.50 at the dollar store. Talk about budget-friendly disinfection. Now, you can't just go dumping bleach willy-nilly. Too much in your drinking pool water, too little and the nasties survive. The CDC recommendation for emergency water purification is a precise science. For relatively clear water, like Alex's filtered rain, it's about 2 drops of regular, 5 to 9% sodium hypochlorite, unscented bleach per liter of water. For cloudy water, you might need up to 4 drops. Alex measured out his filtered water, about 1.5 liters, and carefully added exactly 3 drops of bleach. Precision is paramount here to ensure safety without making the water taste horrible. Adding the bleach isn't instant magic. It needs time to work its bug-killing wonders. Alex stirred the water thoroughly, making sure the bleach was evenly distributed. Then came the waiting game, a crucial 30 minutes. During this time, the chlorine actively seeks out and destroys microorganisms. He covered the pot to prevent any new contaminants from falling in and found a comfy log to sit on. Those 30 minutes felt like an eternity, his thirst intensifying with every passing second. But patience is a virtue, especially when your health is on the line. No shortcuts here. After the agonizing 30 minutes were up, Alex uncovered the pot. The water was now crystal clear. He gave it a quick sniff. A very faint hint of chlorine was present, which is actually a good sign. It means the bleach did its job and there's a residual amount to protect against recontamination. If there was no smell, he might have needed to add another drop and wait another 15 minutes. If it smelled like a swimming pool, he'd let it sit uncovered for a bit to let some chlorine dissipate. This perfect, subtle scent confirmed he had done everything just right. The moment of truth approached. Alex poured a small amount into his travel mug. He held it up to the light. It was absolutely, unbelievably clear. No particulate matter, no odd color. Taking a deep breath, he took a cautious sip. The taste? Surprisingly neutral. A little like tap water, maybe a slight hint of chlorine but nowhere near overpowering. It was cool, refreshing, and incredibly satisfying. The thirst that had been gnawing at him for hours slowly began to recede. He had done it. He had taken murky rainwater, used free and dirt-cheap items, and made it potable. Victory never tasted so good. So, let's tally up the damage. The tarp, old bandana, 2-liter bottle, gravel, sand, and campfire charcoal? All free. Scavenged. Upcycled. The only actual purchase Alex made was that tiny bottle of unscented household bleach, which cost him $1.50 at the dollar store. He probably used about 5 cents worth of bleach for this batch. So, for all intents and purposes, this entire setup, from collection to purification, cost him less than $2. And he still had 99% of his bleach bottle left for future emergencies. The less than $3 claim? Absolutely crushed it. Mind blown yet? What exactly just happened here, scientifically speaking? The layered filtration removed the physical contaminants, the dirt, the leaves, the bugs. That's mechanical separation. The charcoal then adsorbed organic compounds, which means they stuck to its porous surface, neutralizing odors and some dissolved impurities. Finally, the chlorine in the bleach, a powerful oxidizing agent, went to work. It ripped apart the cell walls and internal structures of bacteria and viruses, rendering them harmless. It's a multi-stage attack on anything that could make you sick. Simple chemistry, deployed ingeniously. Boiling water is effective, no doubt. But it uses fuel, takes time, and you need a heat source. In a survival situation, fuel might be scarce, or you might be trying to stay discreet. The bleach method requires no heat, minimal effort, and uses an incredibly small amount of a readily available, shelf-stable chemical. It's quieter, faster, once the waiting period starts, and requires less energy. For pure pathogen elimination, both are incredibly effective. But for speed, stealth, and resource conservation in a pinch? Bleach often wins, especially for large volumes. Alex wouldn't have been able to boil 1.5 liters easily. The next morning, Alex woke up feeling refreshed, hydrated, and totally fine. No stomach cramps, no nausea, no dodgy feelings whatsoever. The purified rainwater had been a lifesaver. He packed up his campsite, leaving no trace, and began the hike out, a proud grin on his face. The skills he'd tested and proven were now firmly etched into his mental toolkit. This wasn't just a party trick, it was genuine, actionable survival knowledge. He pulled out his satellite phone, finally getting a signal, and dialed Ben. "You won't believe what I just did," he chuckled into the phone. On the other end, Ben was skeptical, to say the least. "You drank rainwater? From a soda bottle filter? With bleach? Alex, are you insane?" Ben, ever the pragmatist, couldn't wrap his head around something so simple being so effective. He envisioned Alex swigging from a muddy puddle. Alex patiently explained the layers, the charcoal, the precise bleach dosage. He even offered to show Ben the whole process when he got back. The skepticism was slowly turning into bewildered curiosity. This was the kind of hack that changes opinions. Now, a crucial disclaimer. This method is fantastic for emergency rainwater purification. However, it's not a magic bullet for all water sources. Do not use this for chemically contaminated water, like from an industrial spill, or water downstream from a heavy agricultural area with pesticide runoff. The charcoal will help, but it's not foolproof for heavy chemical loads. Also, collect rainwater from clean surfaces, not directly off a tar-shingled roof or a highly polluted city street. This is for relatively clean rainwater, not toxic sludge. Always exercise common sense and assess your source. Back home, Alex showed Ben the setup, step by step. Ben was genuinely impressed. This wasn't just for deep woods camping, it was a perfect urban survival skill too. Imagine a power outage, city water supply compromised, and a good rainstorm hits. Knowing how to purify water for literally a few dollars is a game changer for home preparedness. They even gathered some extra clean sand and gravel and stored crushed charcoal in an airtight container, just in case. They repurposed a few more soda bottles. Now, their home emergency kit had this simple, powerful tool. A quick note on bleach: it does have a shelf life. Over time, the sodium hypochlorite breaks down, reducing its potency. Typically, unopened bleach is good for about 6 months to a year. Once opened, its effectiveness starts to drop faster. So, for your emergency kit, cycle your bleach supply every 6 to 12 months. Buy a fresh small bottle, use the old one for laundry. This ensures you always have potent disinfectant when you need it most. It's a small detail, but a critical one for maintaining the integrity of your water purification system. Don't get caught with weak bleach. What if you don't have access to an old campfire, or can't buy charcoal? You can actually make your own activated charcoal in a survival situation. It's a bit more involved, but totally doable. You need some hardwood, a metal container with a lid, and a heat source. Basically, you superheat the wood in an oxygen-starved environment, a process called pyrolysis. Then, you can activate it by steam or acid, but for basic water filtration, simply crushing the charred wood works surprisingly well. It's the ultimate from-scratch solution, though a bit smoky. Alex's adventure wasn't just about water, it was about the power of human ingenuity. Faced with a desperate situation, he didn't give up or despair. He thought creatively, used the resources at hand, and applied basic scientific principles. This entire process, costing less than $3, proves that high-tech gadgets aren't always necessary for survival. Sometimes, the most effective solutions are the simplest, born from necessity and a willingness to try. It's a testament to the fact that preparedness isn't about buying every fancy thing, but about understanding fundamental principles. What if your collected rainwater is super cloudy, like thick mud soup? the layers might clog faster, and the filtration will be slower. You might need to pre-filter it first with just a piece of cloth to get the heaviest sediment out, then run it through your bottle filter multiple times. And remember, for very cloudy water, the bleach dosage might need to be increased to 4 drops per liter, and you should always wait the full 30 minutes. Always filter until the water is visibly clear before adding bleach, because suspended particles can shield pathogens from the chlorine. Clear first, then disinfect. Some people are super sensitive to the taste of chlorine. If your purified water still tastes too much like a swimming pool, there's a simple trick. You can pour the water back and forth between 2 clean containers several times. This aerates the water, allowing some of the residual chlorine gas to evaporate. You can also let it sit uncovered for an hour or 2. However, be cautious, the chlorine is what keeps it disinfected. Only do this if you plan to drink it immediately, as removing the residual chlorine makes it vulnerable to recontamination. Safety first, taste second. What if you can't find unscented bleach? Don't panic. Many pool shock treatments are essentially concentrated calcium hypochlorite, which can also be used, but you need to be much more careful with the dosage due to its higher concentration. Look for products that list sodium hypochlorite or calcium hypochlorite as the only active ingredient. Avoid anything with added fragrances, detergents, or splashless formulas, as these can be toxic. Always read the label. In a true emergency, knowing your options for disinfection is key. It's about being resourceful, not reckless. Once you've purified your water, you can store it for later. Use clean, food-grade containers, seal them tightly, and store them in a cool, dark place. The residual chlorine will help keep it disinfected for a few days. If you want to store it longer, you might need to retreat it or consider other long-term storage solutions like specialized water preserver drops. For immediate survival, this bleach method is perfect. For longer-term family preparedness, storing ample clean water or having robust storage solutions is vital. Don't purify just to let it get recontaminated. Alex's success with his $3 filter had a ripple effect. Ben started researching more survival hacks, looking at what else they could prepare for on a budget. They even ran local workshops, teaching friends and neighbors this simple, life-saving skill. It proved that sometimes, the most empowering knowledge isn't found in expensive gadgets, but in understanding basic principles and leveraging everyday items. This wasn't just about a single act of purification, it was about fostering self-reliance and community resilience. The thirst for knowledge, just like the thirst for water, can be a powerful motivator. So, what are you waiting for? This isn't just for doomsday preppers or deep woods adventurers. This is a skill for everyone. Grab an old soda bottle, a bandana, some sand and gravel from your backyard, and a bottle of bleach. Practice this skill. Don't wait for an emergency to figure it out. Know that you can literally conjure drinkable water from the sky in a few bucks. It's empowering, it's cheap, and it could one day save your life. Go on, give it a shot, and tell us in the comments what you think. You might just surprise yourself with your own inner MacGyver. Beyond pure survival, this DIY filter is also a fantastic educational tool. Teach your kids about water purification, gravity, and chemistry. It's a great science project. Or, take a car camping to filter water for washing dishes, or even just to see how much clearer you can make stream water before proper purification. It builds confidence and competence. The satisfaction of turning something visibly dirty into something clean, even if it's not for drinking, is immense. It's about understanding the world around you and how to interact with it, sustainably and ingeniously. As climate patterns shift and extreme weather events become more common, access to clean drinking water is becoming an increasingly critical issue. Relying solely on municipal systems or expensive commercial filters might not always be feasible. Skills like this DIY method aren't just for remote wilderness survival, they're becoming essential urban preparedness tools. The ability to source and purify water independently, on a shoestring budget, is a form of true freedom. It empowers you against unforeseen challenges, making you a more resilient individual and contributing to a more resilient community. While the soda bottle filter is awesome, the principles apply to larger scales too. You can build a similar layered filter in a bucket for higher volumes, or even a dugout pit in the ground if you're truly desperate. The core idea remains: coarse to fine filtration, followed by chemical disinfection. It's adaptable, scalable, and always budget-friendly if you're resourceful. So, whether you're building a tiny personal filter or a community-sized one, remember Alex's journey and the simple power of sand, charcoal, and a tiny bit of bleach. The possibilities are truly endless once you understand the science. In an emergency, the goal isn't absolute, sterile laboratory purity. The goal is potability, safe enough to drink without causing immediate illness. Commercial filters aim for higher standards, but in a bind, safe enough is a lifesaver. This $3 method achieves safe enough without breaking the bank or relying on unavailable tech. Don't let perfection be the enemy of good when your life or well-being is on the line. Alex didn't need a fancy lab, he needed ingenuity and a working solution. And he found it for less than your morning coffee. Pretty incredible, right? So there you have it, the full story of how Alex conquered the $3 Rainwater challenge. No boiling, no fancy filters required. This isn't just a clever trick, it's a vital skill that could genuinely make a difference in your life. Remember, preparation isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. It's about knowing you have the tools and the knowledge to protect yourself and your loved ones, no matter what storms roll in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and share this with anyone who needs to know this life-saving hack. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and stay awesome.